All right, welcome everybody. It is David Thomas. I got Mr. Jay Woolwine with me. He is hanging in there. He has shoulder surgery, so he is being a trooper and jumping on, and we're still making sure we're bringing the value to you each and every single week. So this is our weekly dose of motivation, inspiration, and education for you. It's sometimes about just personal development. Sometimes it's about trading mindset. And today is about trading mindset. All right. So you can be happy about that for all our traders out there or wannabe traders out there. So let's get into it right away. We'll start by explaining why emotional trading, why it happens, and why it can be so damaging. All right. We talk about this all the time inside the community, right? And then we're going to explore some practical steps to help you keep those emotions in check and make better trading decisions.
So emotional trading is a trap, right? We know that, and it's a trap that we all fall into at one point or another. And it's important to kind of understand why that actually happens, right? And it's how we're wired, right? Humans are emotional creatures. And you might have heard, oh, you just need to be a robot, right? But we're not robots and we're not gonna be robots, right? So we react to fear and greed, right? When we see the charts plummet, right? The price is falling, we jump in, right? We get fear, right? We think, oh, I can't lose more, and so we get out, right? We sell. And then on the flip side, when the chart is soaring, right? Then our greed kind of takes over, right? And you're like, you want to get more, you don't want to get out because you think it's going to go more and you're going to miss out on some of it, right? That FOMO, right? And that type of behavior is just rooted in our psychological brains, right? There's nothing we can do about it. And it's called loss aversion, right? And that has to do with, like, you don't want to miss out, right? We call it FOMO, right? I don't want to miss out, so we buy at an inflated price and we sell at a bad price to get out, right? And that's loss aversion. We feel the pain of losing money is we feel that pain more intensely than the joy of making it, right? We're more afraid to lose money than winning it brings us joy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's why so many traders, they're going to, sell too soon during a downturn. If you're talking about like stocks or something, we know in Forex, it really doesn't matter whether it's going up or down, but they sell too soon when the market's plummeting, or they hold on to a falling stock, forever, hoping that it's going to turn around. But here's the thing: the markets are unpredictable in the short term, right? Acting on these emotional impulses often leads to poor timing. You buy high, you sell low, which is the exact opposite of what obviously you want to do, right? There's also the stress factor. Emotional trading isn't it isn't just financially draining, right? Because emotional trading is not good trading, but it's mentally exhausting. You're glued to the screen, you're stressed out, you're watching every single tick and turn, and it's easy to spiral into a lot of anxiety and doubt. And that's when those traders start being like, oh man, this doesn't work, all this kind of thing. Why? Because they're doubting themselves, because they're doing everything wrong in the sense that emotional trading. And that can take a toll. That can cloud your judgment even further than you're already clouded. And that's why having a plan is so critical. Without a strategy, your emotions are going to take over. And that is definitely a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. And I think it's worth pointing out that how emotional trading feels in the moment, right? Because that's where we kind of get stuck. And imagine this, right? You're having a great day, right? And then you check your trading platform, like maybe you're on your phone, right? And then your trade is in drawdown, right? That How does that make you feel, right? That, like that sinking feeling that immediately you feel like in your gut, right? And suddenly, like, your mind is racing, like, is it going to drop more? Like, did I put my stop loss in? What if I lose my whole account, right? And you panic sell, right? You're like, I'm just going to get out before I lose more. I'll just take the smaller loss, right? And thinking that you've somehow dodged a bullet, but in a few minutes or hours later, what's going to happen, right? It rebounds and it goes on up just like you thought and does exactly what you thought it was going to do, but now you're not left in the trade anymore and you're kicking yourself.
Yeah, or we could flip it around. Like imagine that the thrill of seeing some asset just soar, shoots off like a rocket, right? And you have no position on that trade, right? And it just shoots up with major gains in one day. You think, man, now I have to get in before it gets higher. I'm missing out. So what do? You buy in. Then the next thing you know, it tanks. You have that regret, that frustration. I mean, it's overwhelming. You know, we've all been there. These feelings are very powerful because they're tied to a sense of security and self-worth. That's what tears apart a lot of traders, is because they're tied to their sense of security and self-worth. Losing money feels personal, right? It's bad. It's not just about the dollars. It's about, why didn't I see this coming? I'm stupid. How could I be so stupid? You know, but the truth is, you're not stupid. The markets are unpredictable on the micro level, and everybody can make mistakes. Emotional trading happens because we care about the outcome. And that's why it's so important to separate your emotions from your strategy.
Right. And how do we do that, right? How do we avoid falling into these emotional traps, right? And it starts with being prepared, right? With your preparation, having a clear plan in place, like we talked about all the time. Like I even had it on my chart for a long time with like the daily trades we're doing, right? Here's step one, here's step two, here's step three. Like don't let it get away from you, right? Make it obvious. If you got to say it out loud to yourself, just repeat those things, right? Your entry and exit points. You know, what's your goal for this trade? We talked about that, right? You don't want to get on a plane and then have the pilot go, "Where are we going, folks?" Right? I mean, you're hoping he has a flight plan that he's that he's registered, right? So you're going to have your entry and exit points. You're going to have your risk to reward. You're going to have a stop loss set, right? And just as an example, like if you're buying any asset, right? And you set a stop loss order at a price which will limit the amount you can lose, right? You don't want to lose more than whatever it is, 1% or 0.5% or whatever it is that you're going to do. You know what that is ahead of time, right? And understanding that that's what's at risk, right? Excuse me. And similarly, you set a target for your gains, right? So that you're not just hanging on to something, hoping that, oh, I'm going to get the max out of this, and then it reverses. You lock in a take profit and a stop loss, and those are kind of just like your guardrails, right? Those set the limits of your trade for good and bad, keeping you from making those impulsive decisions when your emotions are trying to get the best of you during the trade, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Another strategy is limit how often you check your trading platform or your portfolio, right? Especially, right now, crypto is going crazy. I know everybody's checking their portfolio 24/7, right? And you need to limit how often you're doing that. Constantly refreshing the app during a volatile day can trigger, just unnecessary panic. Instead, set specific times that you're going to review your trades, review your investments. Mindfulness can also be a very powerful tool. When you have that urge, which we all do, to act impulsively, pause. We've talked about that before. Create a pause between the thought and the action. Take a moment, breathe deeply, ask yourself, am I reacting emotionally, or is this part of my plan? I've said this a million times inside of our mentorship group. Am I making this decision based off of an emotion, fear of loss, fear of missing out, fear of leaving money on the table, fear of letting a winner turn into a loser, whatever it is, right? Or am I making this decision because it's part of my plan? And last, don't hesitate to seek an outside perspective. Now, I'm not talking about taking signals and crap like that, but sometimes talking to a mentor or a trading partner can help you see that bigger picture. They can help provide an objective view that you might lack in the heat of the moment.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And I'll add this, that learning to manage your emotions in trading takes practice, right? It's not just something that's going to come overnight. You're not going to get it perfect right away. But the more that you stick to your strategy, right? If you have that plan set out and you stick to it over and over, the easier it gets, right? And we talk about like whether or not you had a good day trading, that should be when you stuck to your trading plan, right? If you have a valid edge, that's all you need to do. It's not whether or not you won or lost, you just stuck to your plan. And so let's just kind of wrap it up, right? Put a bow on it. Emotional trading is one of the biggest challenges that you're going to run into, that all of us run into, right? And it's driven by fear and greed and excuse me, had a breathing tube down my throat. And by fear and greed and the pressure to act, right? Sometimes we just want to trade. But if you have a plan in place, right, you're being mindful of what you're doing, you're being disciplined in your approach, you can avoid those pitfalls.
Yeah. And just remember, trading is a journey. It's up and down. It's not a straight line. And you have to be patient with yourself. That's the biggest thing. Be patient. No, this isn't going to happen overnight. Anybody that tells you it is lying to you. All right. But it can be a very fun and rewarding journey if you do the proper steps, work on your mindset, be patient, and as always, ask for help when you need it. So, of course, we hope you got value out of this today, and we definitely appreciate everybody watching every week. So he can't quite it can't quite get there, but
Trying to give you a heart, but it'll be down here. Here, I'm giving you all a heart. You're just gonna
there
see it.
you go. I got it. But I hope everybody has a great week. We'll be back towards the end of the week for the weekly market recap. And yeah, God bless. We'll see you soon.
See you guys.
Bye.